I'm Margaret Windsor, and I'm watching television program SVU, and I'm sitting here after all that's still going on with me being kidnapped at age 2 and raped the minute Jeff K and his entourage. I assume they look like FBI back then, or pinstriped or maybe mafia. I don't know. Uh, Hopefully the FBI aren't mafia, but anyway. Uh, so what's the difference? And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this, and I'm not sure what country they're from, but they make women wear masks and long dresses and all this. So I'll probably get in trouble for saying this because it's not right. And women here say they're appalled, pretend to be. I'm watching a program where they killed the daughter and said she was promiscuous, the son did, and he was going to get away with it because it's their custom. Now then, what happened was the mother, they got her to get up in court and tell the truth, and it was diplomatic immunity. The father left in the middle of the night. He didn't wait for the jury verdict. By the way, the son was found guilty. It was the son that killed his sister, and did it because this is the way he's taught, that women are supposed to be less than, I don't know. And I'm sitting there and I'm mad and I'm thinking what's happened to the girl was killed and how she was done, and the mother was finally got to testify, and then they killed her, and the dad took off back to his country in the middle of the night. And so it was their custom, and etc., etc. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, my God, anybody knows better than that. I don't care what their custom is, they know better. And then I think, my God, I'm sitting here 80 years old, still fighting for my life. I just put up a little of what's happened to me recently here. And the fact that someone can walk in with me telling all this, but for the fact that it's never gotten into court, nobody will touch it. Then they can keep on doing it to me until I'm dead. I have gone through life being kidnapped at age 2, being brought to this country where my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, was born. I've put it up on YouTube and Facebook, and I've told about having an autoimmune disorder that I was finally diagnosed with when I moved to Roanoke. And nobody had told me that, even though I worked for doctors, and certainly I went to doctors through my life. So they had to have known. And when I'm around toxic fumes, my immune system attacks itself, and inflammation gets so bad that over time, if I'm subjected to it, which I have been, it's a murder weapon to put me in a room, and it's not just that, with mold, mildew, air and heat, and where you can't turn it on, and so you leave it off, and the fact that it's in the room with you destroys you. But it's the other toxic, and this is where I've been kept running to. It's the crazy, if you talk about crazy, the fact that people have participated in it, and I've put too many papers up on video, up on YouTube and Facebook to support what I'm saying, so there's no doubt in anybody's mind. Yet this has been allowed to go on and on. And I told about May the 6th of 2013, when I was actually abducted from over at this gentleman, this man, that owns a lot. At the time he owned that one. It was over at, no. They didn't own that at the time. That was May the 6th of 2013, excuse me. This was Third Lane Road, and it was bought out by them, I don't know if it's their relatives, but later. But no, they were not in on this, I don't think, that I know of. But I was abducted, and it's a doctor and his wife and daughter that was murdered here in the Roanoke area, the surrounding area, and he's a very prominent doctor. And she's very prominent with the television and with women and all this. So my mother loved me too, you know. I love my children. I'm the one that tried to tell you all about mind control murders and it being done in patterns. You've got the Tesla files that were stolen. And I was telling you, this is where you can cure an illness or create it. So they've had cures, and even my husband knew that way back. So where am I going with this? I told the truth through it all. And what have I gotten? I have been brutalized. There's things that have happened lately that I won't tell, so it's still ongoing. Okay, my father was taken out by the Americans, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, who say that this country wanted their independence, quote, in 1776, yet they come in and take my father out because he would not go along with them. Then, because of papers he had drawn up, he married my mom, not the American spy Wallace Simpson. She married one of the doubles that pretend to be my father. And today, I looked on YouTube, and it was talking about King Edward VIII, and then they had him, I forgot how they stated it, marrying Wallace and became the Duke of Windsor. A total lie, fabrication lie. It was a plot to take him down, and the Illuminati came in really into power, the global government at that time, because then's when the United States came in, and they partnered with Winston Churchill and some of the others there in the UK. They partnered, Winston Churchill and Eisenhower became big buddies, and then Truman and Nixon and Kennedy, JFK. His father had been made ambassador for the sole purpose of taking my father down in 1936. And that's when he became king, and that's when Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, the old man Kennedy, was made ambassador to England by President Roosevelt, another Illuminati, a Jew. So this is when they took my father down and kidnapped me, is when the United Nations began to be formed, and that was, all these treaties are illegal, by the way, that were formed. And the United States came in and put their weapons and everything, military, all over the UK, which is like someone coming here and putting it all over Washington, D.C., etc., etc. So, I mean, you know that, and all you have to do is look at the world now. They went into Australia, British, and Area 51. All their stuff's they've changed the culture all around deliberately, and now then, I don't know what else you need. Sitting right up here in in New York City, is the United Nations. And that's your front for your Illuminati control world. Chipping, Mark of the Beast, all this. I had no idea when I was writing a book, MD, A License to Kill, it had this kind of ending. In fact, I wasn't able to, thank goodness I couldn't, look at me now, it's bad enough, say that I'd been kidnapped and who my father is, because look at the price I've paid before and even after I found out and could verbalize it. And they know it's the truth. And I ran in a political campaign. U.S. Congress, when they took one of the doctors was supposed to have died, Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman doctor, and he was on that KAL that was taken down. And since Richard Nixon got on it too, in Juneau, Alaska, with Geraldo got off, Nixon got off, and I'm not the only one that says this, that has made this statement. The plane was taken down. It flew into Russian airspace 10 miles in, where the Russians shot it down. And but prior to the takeoff, Nixon was taken off. Geraldo, the reporter, got off, and I mean, you know, the whole thing was to 296 or 86 died. They all died on the plane to make Larry McDonald appear to have gone down when he didn't. It was a takedown to make it appear. Now then, back to what you get the gist. When I was brought there, I was raped then. Now then, it continued, and so, you know, I worked, and this family kept it secret. The mother had the children out of wedlock, the twins. They gave me Peggy's name. Jeff K. was helped in it and helped bring me to America, kidnap me and bring me here. And my own Uncle George, Elizabeth's father, and of course she knows. All of them do. People here all know it. Now, I have been raped and thrown on the side of the road, and things done to me that were so illegal. Stuff put in me that should have killed me. I go to the hospital, make it there to get a tox screen, and it just became more a fiasco, a hell, and over through my life to me and my sons. The torture, the horrific crimes that were done to us, to babies, and throughout our life. And I was looking, and today I'm afraid, because of some things that have happened recently, because I went for a 6 months checkup, and I had to go to urgent care over here, and the doctor did a urine analysis, and he told me I had a bacterial bladder infection, and he ordered medicine. I wasn't able to take it. I took 4 out of 14 because they were doing work, and I have an autoimmune disorder. And I'm allergic to chemicals, and they were tarring and everything on the roof, or putting all kinds of stuff on the roof. And they were even doing some yard like mulch right at the door almost. And I got sick, and it said if you had those symptoms, I had to stop taking it. Well, I did. I only took 4. So now that I've been told that I didn't follow the rules by trying to get help because I can't hear. I've got a bacterial ear infection. A year and a half ago in January, I went to my doctor, and she has to sign for me to see other doctors. And herein is some of the problem. And today, I've been through hell. I've had crimes committed to me that was stacked. This is what the FBI said. They're stacking them. When I got the letter from them in 1979, dated June the 23rd, my father's birthday, but of course this is 1979. April Fool Day, I was almost killed in the most horrific way, and should never have walked away from it. It was hell for a long time. And I worked for the district attorney. My apartment was taken. I was gotten out of town by my husband's sister, Laura Childers Klein, under the, and she was going to help me find a job, let me stay there a couple of weeks out in Abilene. Now she lives outside Austin. And she's lived a good life. They're CPA and all this. And she got me out of town. And when I got to, didn't have much money, I was trying to get my children away. This is mid-March of 80, and then April Fool Day when I got back. She'd gotten me out of town so they could take my apartment. It was all illegal. It was in my name. There was never any doubt whatsoever. I was only gone a few days out there and turn around and come back, because when I got to Mesquite outside Dallas, I called Laura again, and I said, well, I'm here. I'll be there in about 3 or 4 hours. And she said, no, you won't. You're no longer welcome. So I turn around and go back, and my apartment's gone. My ex-husband, her brother has it. They've let him sign a lease, all illegal, use my deposit. And then is when the doctors, I was writing the book, one of them, Hardiman, Gene Strokerman was killed there, shot at Christmas and up against the Christmas tree. And my attorney told me about it. Well, oddly enough, she gets into this because of Carol Johnson, who was a nice lady, but then she opted out because she got afraid. So anyway, you got doctors that became all involved in this, and I'm going to skip it because what happened to me when I went for the tox screen, April Fool Day of '80, my ex-husband, supposedly, whatever he turns out to be, he was suddenly out in California, which I had never known him to go to California. So I didn't have anybody I could reach out to. This is all illegal. I went for a tox screen. I remember during this hell, and I hope it's all told my whole life, during this hell, this Dr. Beecham, who, by the way, all this is illegal. When I'm standing there, and it's all I can do to keep from screaming, I had to tie myself in the bed. It's what they did to me. And later, on Forensic Files, Cobb County, where Buddy Dart and I liked him, but none of this was prosecuted that happened to me. But in Cobb County and Forsyth County, by the way, that's the name of one of the doctors, which was so important in this. He put a chipper in a heart bypass of the man that was, he was really next to the owner of Dixon, a produce company, which oddly enough, after I'm doing the book and after I worked for Dr. Forsyth and Kuchar and McCoy there at Northside, that was the next job I had, and that's where I got some more information there. And this actually did happen. Well, you can put a chip in him. You can control, and there's no misunderstanding what kind of chip I'm talking about. I'm doing the book at that time, and the bookkeeper was the one that started tuning me in, and then the doctor was cardiovascular. I worked for Forsyth, so he did do the surgery, etc. on this man. So you can control their decision making and everything. So now, where am I going on this? I've lost my train of thought now. Back to this before the way I've been treated, thrown out just to be raped, fell down and walking through the halls of the Richard Russell building with the book I wrote, the letter from the FBI, no money. All this happened to me, trying to get to somebody would help. I went to Ronnie Flippo, he was a House representative or senator from Huntsville, Alabama. He was over the NASA administration, all that. And he was good, but then he had his house bombed, and that was before I knew him, just prior, though. So, anyway, they didn't do anything. His office wouldn't. And I actually fell down in the halls carrying the book, letter from the FBI, all of this. Fell down because I hadn't had anything to eat, and I'm trying to get the Senate and House representative to help me, and somebody specifically told me I should not go to Tip O'Neill because his connection to, I guess, the Kennedys and I don't know where's the connections. This is Hillary Clinton up there now. They should tell about Hillary and Bill. And it really gets me hearing Nancy Pelosi and all this because they, not one of them, have told you about mind control. They have not told you about my kidnapping. They all know. Why am I the one telling you about it? So I was watching this up here,